Stonehenge sprayed with orange powder paint by Just Stop Oil activists. We're going to read into this piece from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that Stonehenge was sprayed with orange powder paint by Just Stop Oil activists. The two people were arrested, said police, while Rishi Sunak's comments on protest prompted a response from a Labour donor. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So, before I actually give my thoughts, there was an interview from Politics Joe, from one of the speakers of Just Stop Oil, and after watching the interview, I had tweeted out about how I felt about this, and I'm very torn on this decision, because a part of me fully understands the cause and the meaning, but a part of me also feels like, is what actions that you're doing going to really make a difference in terms of Just Stop what they're doing? So I just wanted to play this question in particular from the clip, and of that how I feel about the view of their reasons and their actions here.
So is the end goal of actions like today to kind of impress upon the public rather than on politicians that there needs to be immediate action, and to kind of mobilize the public rather than pushing for political action from the top, make it a grassroots thing rather than from top down?
I mean, I think there's two strands to this. There's disruption and then there's dialogue. So as a result of the action that we've undertaken today, now we're having a conversation, and we've managed to get the issue of an international fossil fuel treaty to the top of the entire news agenda, where it wasn't before. I think there's a perception that when we take the actions that we do, it's like we don't like these things, and that couldn't be further from the truth. When we take action at sporting events or in art galleries or at monuments like this, we're doing so because we love these things and we want these things to continue, right? But we're in a situation where I think we've got to understand, and we've got to sort of like ask ourselves why it is that we're living in a society where oil and gas executives, for instance, aren't being, dragged onto the media and then asked to justify their acts of criminal damage that are being imposed on all of us and are fundamentally going to result in the deaths of millions of people.
And I get where he's coming from. I really do. I really do understand why he said what he said there. And here's the thing, like, the problem is that, and I keep coming back to this, we do have a problem where, do we speak out enough about the problems in the UK? No, we don't. We don't use our voice enough. We don't scream and shout about the things and the damage that has been done in this country by politicians and by global events and whatnot. We don't do enough protesting. I think that's fair to say. But there's also, at the same time, we also know that that our rights to protest have been eroded as well. There has been this installation of fear, that as the police have been given more and more powers, it's become a lot harder for people to protest as well. And I think that's also something that we need to take into account when we're talking about this. Now, I tweeted that what they're doing, and I generally believe this, and that what they're doing here in this situation is that, yes, they're making the media scene. They're trying to get attention for their cause. But I also think this is just as important about public perception as well. And I feel like, while I understand that they're trying to get attention, is it going to make the moves that it wants them to make? Is it going to put them around the table with a Labour government, with a future Labour government? Is it going to get them to have get people to have those conversations about Just Stop Oil, about what they're doing, or is it just going to get people to basically say, is it going to turn people off from what they're doing? Because I generally believe that a lot of people are getting sick and tired of Just Stop Oil, and not because of their cause, but because of what they're doing. And his argument there is obviously the argument they're trying to make is they're trying to justify what they're doing by making these events in order to make because of the situation with oil. And the situation is, of course, why are these people, the people responsible for this, not being pulled in front? Well, we know why they're not facing any kind of justice. It's because they control politicians, they control, they have money and they have wealth and they have power. And the one thing that obviously to counteract that is protesting and having their voice. So I am in a bit of a two fence here, but now I also want to stress, for those who don't know, is that the powder can just be the powder that is sprayed on Stonehenge. It's not going to affect them at all, and it's literally just going to wash off by the water, so it's not going to damage them at all. But I believe in protest, and I believe in the rights to protest. But I do feel like there is a line, because if there is a line, and that line is violence. Now, Just Stop Oil, in my opinion, haven't gone down the line the level of violence, but they are trying to get a voice out there, and the problem is their voice is being ignored by successive Conservative governments. And when you hear Keir Starmer calling this, saying that this is disgraceful or whatever as well, my question to those who believe in Just Stop Oil and believe in their cause: how are you supposed to get in a table with governments if you're going to be doing, if they condemn actions like this? Yes, you're highlighting your cause, which is what you guys are supposed to be doing, but are you winning public opinion on it as well? Because the thing is, in order to make change, you need the public on your side. You need to create that. You need to have the public on your side for it. And a part of me does question whether or not, and a part of me does question their cause, because this is not the first time I've questioned Just Stop Oil and their antics here, and I do fear that while I believe in their cause, at the same time I feel like this is, to me, it's not the right way of going about it. And it's easy for me to say that on the outside, but that's just how I feel. I really do feel that they're obviously trying to highlight this cause. And when is there ever, and I suppose I would say to myself as well, part of me will say to myself, maybe they shouldn't be doing it during an election campaign. Well, when is the right time to do these protests? When is it the right time to say this? So I'm a bit of I'm kind of sitting on the fence of this, because a part of me feels that they're just trying to highlight again the needs of how important it is for us, for the climate, for the globe, that we need to stop oil. But I don't just see it as a British thing. I see it as a global thing, and it's about international. It's about the international responsibility, international communities being able to come together to work on this. And yeah, we do need to do something about the influence that billionaires, politicians, and private companies and billionaires have on politicians. That needs to change, because if we don't change it, these kind of activities will continue. But I just don't know if this was the right thing for them to do, because it's in the papers now, they're getting attention, and then what's going to happen? Then it's going to go quiet again. That's kind of how I see it, really. So 2 people have been arrested after Just Stop Oil activists sprayed orange powder paint over Stonehenge. Rishi Sunak condemned the action, saying this is a disgraceful act of vandalism, one of the UK's and world's oldest and most important monuments. David Vanel, a Labour donor and backer of Just Stop Oil, responded to the comment by Sunak, saying that a certain Labour Party donor should condemn the action by saying, "Since Rishi Sunak asked me personally to comment, I will. I don't support what Just Stop Oil did today. It's that simple, but as far as works actions, we could focus on far more harmful ones, like pushing 2 million children into their families and into poverty." Yeah. The Labour leader to Keir Starmer said the group was pathetic, and those responsible must face the full force of this law. Yeah, him calling them pathetic, that's not very good when you've got who's going to be the next Prime Minister saying that your group is pathetic. It's not very ideal, is it? Members of the public attempted to stop the spraying, and the visitors managed to wrestle a spraying can from one of the protesters. Wiltshire police have said they have arrested 2 people following the incident at Stonehenge on that afternoon. Responded to the report, orange paint being sprayed on some of the stones by the 2 suspects. Offenders attended the scene. Officers attending the scene arrested 2 people on suspicion of damaging the ancient monument. Our inquiries are ongoing. The protest came as thousands of Druids and rivers prepared to travel to the monument of the summer solstice. Sean Moore and a guide said, "It was devastating. I was very angry. We were having a great time and enjoying it when it happened. There's living lichen on those stones. Biologists from around the world come to study it. Did they think of that?" A senior Druid and pagan priest, King Arthur Pendragon, said that he totally disapproved of Just Stop Oil's protest, and that the group's actions alienate any sympathy for their cause. And this is it right here. The word alienating their any sympathy for their cause. This is the thing. He later on said in that interview, and again I'll put a link in the description, that it's just about getting attention rather than winning over public perception. And I don't think that's the right way, me personally. Pendragon, who's standing as an independent parliamentary candidate for the area, said Stonehenge is a living, working temple at times of celebration and pilgrimage for such summer solstice, and as a well-known protester myself, I totally disapprove of such behaviour as demonstrated by these people, who had nothing to enhance or anything to alienate any sympathy for anyone has or had for their cause. The priest had previously been involved in several protests in the monument and lost a legal challenge over a £15 car parking charge at the site in 2017, claiming the fee breached his human rights. Paul Anderson, who visited the stones from Newcastle upon Tyne, said, "We were around the other side when we saw a lot of orange mist. I can see that's how that's good publicity, doing something like that to an ancient monument coming from Newcastle after Cinnamore Gap Tree was felled. It beggars belief." His wife, Enian Anderson, said, "It ruined the day, but not the holiday. I'm not going to let them. How dare you? It's the last thing you expect." Yeah, see? There's some people who are not bothered, and there's some who do. Mike and Juliet, who did not wish to give their surnames, had to come from the west coast to the US to visit Stonehenge. He said it was a shame their path around the stones was closed after the incident. They said they're ruining it for people to come across the world to have their moment and see it. In a statement, JSO said at the time, said it was time for methodological action and called for the next UK government to agree to a plan to stop the extraction of burning oil and gas and coal by 2030. He said, "Continuing to burn oil, coal and gas will result in the deaths of millions. We have to come together to defend humanity or we risk everything. That's why Just Stop Oil is demanding that our next government signs up to legally binding treaties to phase out fossil fuels by 2030. There isn't... The reality is that's just not going to happen. You're not going to phase them out by 2030. Like, we can't transition that fast. You have to be... Your targets need to be realistic. Okay, your targets need to be realistic. I'm all in favour of climate change. People know, I've covered it. I've covered the extensivity of it, but you're not going to get it done by 2030. Come on, like we're nowhere near ready for that. Like we're only that's what 6 years away from the time of this recording. Like, come on. There's no way you can fade it out. It's just asking a bit too much here. But I am frustrated, but at the same time, it's like I know some people will say, "Oh, they're just stones on a wall, on stones and that," but they're still national trusts. They still hold high regards of tourism for Britain as well. And I was lucky enough to go to Stonehenge before it all got snapped up by the tourist industry and charging people for it. So I got to see it when I was a kid for free. So I feel sorry for people having to go there and pay to look at them, which I think is a bit silly, but that's just me. But it's not like they're permanently scarring it. They're just trying to push for a cause as well. But at the same time, it's like, for me, it's about winning over public perception for your cause as well. Because if you have public perception on your side, you have a much better chance of convincing a government and convincing those more than anything. And I just think they're hurting their cause rather than pushing it. But what do you guys think? Do you think that their cause is being hurt? Do you think there's any justifiability for what they did for this act? Can you understand why they did what they did? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comment section down below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all very, very soon.